Like how bad can it be? Like it can't be that bad, right? Right.
Lilo and Stitch 2025 is the latest in the Disney lineup to end up on the live action chopping board. They've once again taken some creative liberties that differ from the original, and they've once again made it so much worse.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Including a complete change to the film's ending, which I absolutely have to talk about, but don't worry, it will be in a separate spoiler section towards the end of this video. The original Lilo and Stitch came out in 2002,
I remember the
which was at
original
the end
one.
of Disney's cinematic 2D animated films era, before they fully made the shift over to CGI. And though not technically the final 2D animated release, I would say it was the final successful 2D animated release, and so in that sense it is kind of seen as that last farewell from a bygone era. It was a film that managed to blend intense action with well-timed comedy, but also have a simplistic yet heartwarming focus on the concept of family and belonging. And despite being a late entry into the Disney animated movies, it managed to quickly secure itself as one of the all-time great classics, becoming such a hit with audiences that it spawned a television series, multiple sequels.
I remember the television series. I don't remember Leroy and Stitch. I don't remember Lilo and Stitch 2. And then that one, Stitch the movie. Yeah. I've never seen these three. I've seen the original and the TV show, but I've never seen any of these. I never even knew they even made other movies, to be honest.
And even an anime. So of course...
Oh, what the fuck? They made an anime on this? Okay, that I did not even knew they made an anime on it.
The live action would come along and completely botch all of that. No, seriously, because of how the live action film ends, it completely makes all of the sequels and spin-offs non-canon. But hey, let's start off with the good, because there are some good aspects with this new film. I think Stitch actually looks really good in this, and his character is still very much true to that of the original, even with Chris Sanders, who voiced Stitch in the original, once again coming back to reprise his role. And even though over 20 years have passed since the original release, he still sounds just like he did back in 2002. The film's opening sequence, along with...
Damn, that's really interesting if you can still keep the same voice or so from like many years ago. I used to be able to do, I perfectly used to do the Stitch voice a long time ago, but I have never bothered continuing doing it, so... I used to do the iconic Stitch laugh and everything, and all that shit. My friend taught me. She's the one who taught me how to do it, because she was originally the one who did the Stitch voice, and then she taught me how to do it, and then I just kind of rolled with it.
The CGI aliens also looks pretty decent for the whole 5 minutes that they're in the film for, but still looks good. The girl who plays Lilo also does a pretty decent job. There are some moments where she feels a little off in places, but she's a child actor, so I'm not going to be too harsh on her, and apparently this is her first big screen appearance, so you know what? Fair play. And there were actually some changes that they made in this film that do actually benefit it from the original, such as how Stitch overhears Jumper and Pleakley talking about how they're not allowed to hurt humans, so it gives him more reasoning as to why he would want to get adopted, whereas in the original he just kind of assumes it to be the case. There was also a scene at the end, don't worry this really isn't a spoiler, where Lilo and Stitch are drowning in the ocean. Lilo can't lift Stitch to the surface, so Stitch willingly lets go of her hand and effectively sacrifices himself so that Lilo can go on. It's a nice contrast to earlier on in the film where he was drowning and was aggressively trying to climb on top of Lilo and ends up accidentally taking her down in the process, and plays more into his weakness of not being able to swim in water. And yeah, that's about all the good I can think of. So on to the bad. There's a lot more cringe humor and interactions between the characters. It very much has that Marvel humor kind of vibe to it. You know, where it feels like they just have to make a little quip or gag every 10 seconds, even if the scene doesn't really demand it. Yeah, unfortunately that's present here. The humor itself also feels a lot more childish, such as Stitch farting in a punch bowl, wiping his ass across the floor, with even more burp jokes. Oh, and you know that line in the original where Lilo tells David,
"Don't worry, she likes her butt and fancy hair." I know. I read her diary.
Well, now they've changed that to, I've read her text messages. Because you see there, kids, this isn't your dad's film.
Ah, I see.
This is the modern film. Even though mobile phones were already a thing back in 2002. They even make a TikTok reference towards the end of the film.
Oh, not TikTok. Really? TikTok out of all things? Man, at this point, just fucking say Asmongold in the video and in the movie and we'll be fine, you know?
This film also feels like it's been dumbed down from the original, such as when the alien queen says that Stitch won't be able to survive in water because of his molecular density. In the original film, that was it.
He won't survive in water. His molecular density is too great.
But in this one, when she says that line, all of the ship's crew go, huh? And so she has to explain, oh, it means he will sink in water. Like, did we really need that to be spoon-fed to us? Jumper and Bleakley are now played by live-action humans for the most part, and I kinda get this. I guess from a budgeting perspective, it makes it easier to have actual humans play the part rather than using CGI creatures, but it also makes sense from a logical perspective, as in the original it's quite comical at how they are obviously aliens in weak disguises. In fact, it's even commented on at one point.
Head looks swollen.
Actually, she's just ugly.
But in the live action, where the world is now real, it's a lot harder to sell this and make it seem believable that these two could blend in. I'm not really a fan of Jumper's new voice in this. It is way too high pitched and nasally compared to his deep Russian accent from the original.
Start traveling, please.
Monstrosity! What you see before you is the first of a new species.
And I'm not even saying that.
Huh, so that's the VA, for Jumba? I kinda don't like it personally, I don't know.
As in, oh, it doesn't sound like the original, therefore bad, but more from the fact that the high-pitched nasally voice just doesn't suit his large, lumbering design. The opening scene where Stitch escapes from the ship is cut down, which is arguably one of the best scenes in the original, yet here it goes straight from him breaking out of the room to immediately flying off with the police cruiser. Oh, and there's no...
Really? They cut that specific scene out? What, they couldn't fucking put it in the budget or something? They couldn't animate that? Man. Disney cutting corners, I see.
Mention or use of the ugly duckling story, which I found surprising as it was kind of a big theme in the original, as it symbolizes
Wait, they also
Stitch's
cut that out
isolation
too?
and wanting for a family. There's also been some new characters added into the film, and I say new characters in quotation marks, as these characters don't actually offer anything new to the film, but rather just fill in some of the roles that were previously occupied by the older characters. For example, in the original we had Cobra Bubbles, who was the social worker, who later turned out to be a former CIA agent. Well, now he's just been split into two, where we now have a pure social worker character, and Bubbles is now just a CIA agent.
What? Why? Why? That makes no sense. They literally have the material of the original movie. Why didn't they just use the original material? What is the point of doing this? This makes no fucking sense, man. I just don't understand. I don't understand, dude.
Know your
I'm
fucking
fucking
place,
dying over here
trash.
trying to understand this.
And I really don't get why, as it now makes him far less involved in the story, and when it's revealed at the end that he is CIA, we the audience are like, yeah, we know, we've been seeing you do that throughout the whole movie, and for the other characters it's like, sorry, who are you? We've barely interacted. They've also added this new neighbor character, who again doesn't offer anything new to the story, but instead just does some of the stuff that Nani did in the original, which is not only pointless, but it also kind of ruins Nani's character. As in this version, it's the neighbor who takes Lilo to go get the dog, and not Nani. And Nani...
Oh wait, what? what? That makes no sense. Because then, like, the relationship with Nani and Lilo just becomes more separate. Because the whole point in the original movie is because Nani takes Lilo out. Because, if I remember correctly, because Lilo was, like, kind of lonely or so, right? And like, if I remember correctly, she like wished upon like having like a pet or something like that. If I remember correctly from the original movie, I'm trying to remember from the original movie. That's what I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember from the original movie because like, cause I remember Lilo having an argument with the white girl or so in the hula dance. And then it just became all this whole debacle thing. And then like Lilo wanted, you know. Nani is busy girl bossing in the new one. Is that what that is? So you're telling me that Nani is just non-existent in Lilo's life? Is what you're telling me? But the neighbor is more involved in Lilo's life than Nani is. But like the whole point in the original movie is Ohana, you know, family. So like they're both like Lilo and Nani are supposed to be like, you know, so okay, you know what, whatever, I'm too sick for this shit. I'm about to get a headache if I try to get some shit as is.
He didn't even agree for Lilo to get a dog in the first place. Like, why would you change that? In the original, Nani agrees to let Lilo have a dog because she wants to make her happy. It shows us that she does care for her, even down to the more...
Yeah, okay. I know it was something like that. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the original movie.
Subtle stuff, such as the interaction where Lilo comes up with the name Stitch, the shelter worker tells her that Stitch isn't a very good name, and Nani interjects in order to protect Lilo's feelings.
Yeah.
It's little moments like that which shows us that Nani does in fact care for Lilo, and so I don't know why they would want to take that away. Even other moments, such as in the original where Nani gets fired from her job, Lilo asks if it was because of her and Stitch, and Nani lies to her and says no, because again, she wants to protect Lilo's feelings.
Did you lose your job because of Stitch and me?
Yeah.
The manager's a vampire.
Whereas in this new one, she's like, yeah, it was your fault. Like, why do that? Yeah.
Wait, huh? Take care, Hazu. Be safe. Wait, so Nani's just a complete dick in this entire movie? Man, that's crazy to hear that. They've completely changed Nani's character. Because I remember in the trailer, right? In the trailer itself, it didn't really look like it. Interesting. So they just kind of like cherry picked the scenes or so for the trailer. I see what they did.
Yeah, we know that Nani isn't perfect and that she makes mistakes, but it was these moments of selflessness and willingness to put Lilo first that showed us she was a good person, and thus really made you want to root for her to succeed. But by far the worst part of Nani is what they did with her at the end. Which, yeah, now we're going to get into the spoiler section, so if you don't want to hear this stuff, you can click off the video now. So they have it at the end where Nani doesn't end up getting custody of Lilo, and instead, Lilo now goes to live with the neighbor and David next door. To which they say,
Wait, hold up. Wait. Wait, she doesn't gain custody for... Huh?
oh, it's okay, Nani. Now this means you can go away to study marine biology. In which she does. What? First up, the whole subplot of Nani wanting to go away and study, I swear was barely mentioned in the whole film. But two, doesn't this destroy the entire plot of the film? Wasn't the whole point that Nani was fighting tooth and nail just so that her and Lilo could remain together? And they do try and backpedal this a bit with the whole, oh well, Nani is able to use the portal gun to visit Lilo while she's away, so technically they're still together. But no, this still ruins the entire point of the film, because if the option of having Lilo being able to simply move next door was available, then why would there be any major conflict to begin with? It also kind of makes David's inclusion in the film rather irrelevant, as him and Nani don't actually end up together.
Yeah, isn't it? If I remember in the first movie, right? Doesn't he have a crush or so on Nani, and he tries to like his best or so try to woo Nani or so? If I remember something like that, or like, I don't know. It's been a while. I have no idea. Yeah, he does. Okay. All right. I'm trying to remember this off the top of my. I'm sick. Okay. All right. So I'm not 100% here. So I'm trying not to use too much brain power right now at the moment. So.
Whereas in the original, he was much more like that supportive father figure.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, he's just a bit of a bumbling comedy relief who says cringe-inducing lines like, "Oh yeah, I like shredding you, Nani. I mean, I like watching you shred." Yes, that's an actual line in the film.
Wait, so they basically don't. Wait, so they like, instead of him being a supporting character, they made him like even worse than a supporting character. They were dating at the end of the OG movie. Were they actually dating in the OG movie? I don't remember. It's fucking been too long, to be honest.
And then finally, we have the biggest change of the film, and that's making the decision to have Jumba as the main villain.
What?
Yes.
Excuse me? Isn't it supposed to be that one other dude that's supposed to be the villain of the movie that's supposed to capture Stitch? What's his name again? I forgot what his name is. The big whale looking dude. Big fucking 10 feet, 11 feet, 12 feet tall looking guy or so. I forgot what his name was. What was his name? I know it was some big whale dude or so, like the big orca or whale guy. What was his name again? I forgot what his name was.
So you know how in the original, Jumba agrees to help rescue Lilo, and as a result becomes like another member of the family? Well, in this take, there is no Captain Gantu, so Jumba ends up filling the role of the villain. My theory as to why they did this is that they were trying to reduce the amount of CGI aliens as much as possible in order to reduce the film's budget, and so as a result, decided to scrap Captain Gantu altogether, and then just haphazardly make Jumba the villain instead. Because
That is the most retardedest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That is so stupid. That's just unbelievable. I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. Oh my goodness gracious me. What they done to you? Scavenging the old movie for nostalgia? They didn't scavenge anything. What are you talking about? They fucking butchered it. They put it on the chopping block and cut it into pieces.
Because, okay, I'll admit, Jumba's sudden willingness to help in the original does kind of happen in an instant. In fact, the film even jokes about this.
You expect me to help you just like that? Just like that? Ugh. Fine.
But there were signs early on that he wasn't essentially a bad person, as he would begin to note at how Stitch's behaviour was beginning to change, and how he started to become less aggressive towards him, and he even showed remorse at the fact that Lilo had gotten caught up in all the mess. And so even though I say his jump to full-on hero felt a little rushed in the original, I'd say his jump to full-on villain feels even more jarring in this version, as he is still presented as much of the same Jumba in the first half, even with him and Pleakley still having that comedy duo aspect to them. So when he suddenly starts behaving super sinister, it just feels out of nowhere. They do kind of hint at him having some abandonment issues from his past, which is quickly uttered in a few lines of dialogue. So my guess is that if they do get a sequel, which I really hope they don't, but if they do, then I'm assuming they're going to set him up for some sort of future redemption arc. But either way, I felt this was completely the wrong decision, and it also meant that we didn't get the epic chase scene at the end where they rescue Lilo from Gantu. Instead, we just simply have Stitch sabotage Jumba's ship and have it crash into the ocean. My speculation here is that the decision to remove Gantu was made quite late into production for budget reasons, because not only does Jumba's shift feel incredibly rushed, but it would also explain as to why the opening scene is so abruptly cut down, just in order to remove any scenes that would involve Gantu. Anyway, yeah, that's my thought on another live action which has been
That's
made so much worse than the
dumb.
original. But what do you guys think? Did you go see it? And what do you think of the creative changes that were made? Let me know in the comments below, and until the next one.
Wow, that's this is the first time hearing the review or so for this like Lilo and Stitch thing or so. I'm gonna be honest with you, goddamn, this is pretty terrible. I feel sorry. Actually do feel sorry for people who actually went to go see the movie and had the most biggest disappointment on their faces because Gantu wasn't even mentioned in the entire thing itself. Man, dude. See, this is why I don't watch movies anymore. I think the movie scene in general is just shit. True, if you can't make the CGI for the characters, don't even bother making a live action movie of it. Just make a remastered cartoon version of it or something, you know? I just don't watch movies anymore. I see. I don't know, man. To not have Gantu in the actual like movie scene itself is to actually like, remove him whatsoever is like the craziest thing to see that, because Gantu is supposed to be part of that, because that actually builds up to the cartoons where all of the other, you know, 626, 625 or so, and like 0 to 625, or technically, you know, experiment 001 to 625, you know, to be like, you know, to come out and be spreading all over the island and everything. Could have been set up for a sequel for that, actually, to be honest, or like some kind of aspect of it, a lot more shorter, condensed version of that specific you know, something like that, you know. But no, instead it's not how it is. But oh well, whatever, it is what it is. Man, that shit is shit, man. That shit is terrible. That's dog shit. Anyways, whatever. I'm still sick anyways while the recording of this video anyways, so I haven't been to the cinema in over 20 years, so then having Nani leave Lilo so she can go to college for marine biology, even though Hawaii has the best marine biology college in the US. Could done a man in the shadow solution for not showing him or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's whatever. Anyways. Wow, this is probably one of the worst ones too as well. This is probably one of the worst live actions, along with what is it? That one other one, Sleeping Beauty. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. Yeah, no, fuck that, dude. Just go watch the cartoon version. Just watch the cartoon version of this movie. It's just better, you know. Live action of these ones are just not that great. Yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.